welcome to another book talk with Livingston Parish Library. My name is Danielle. I am the youth manager at the Denham Springs Walker Branch Library. The time has come, my friends. This is the last book talk of our Imagine Your Story 2020 virtual summer reading program. We've talked about a lot of themes in fantasy this summer. We've talked about a lot of good books, but I wanted to save one of my favorites for last. That's right, this week we are talking about mythology. You're probably thinking, wow, she says everything is her favorite, which is true, but I really do love mythology. I have loved it for a long time. Fun fact, I do have a dog named Loki, which is the Norse god of mischief. But coincidentally, he looks like a coyote, which is the Native American god of mischief. And it fits because he is very mischievous. So mythology has actually had a giant resurgence in the YA and middle grade genre because of a man known as Riordan. Yes, he's the author of the Percy Jackson series, and then he created a whole bunch of other series kind of off of that one as well. And now he has this new really cool thing called Rick Riordan Presents. So with Rick Riordan Presents, he basically endorses these other authors who have written books based off of mythology from around the world. So we're going to talk about some of those today because they are fantastic. We actually talked about a few of them throughout the book talks that we've done this year. I really love the Rick Riordan Presents books because not only does it highlight other mythologies from around the world, but it also gets other authors from those specific cultures kind of recognition. So you've probably already read a Greek or Roman inspired mythology book. So I'm not going to focus on those today. I'm going to focus on mythologies from around the world. So our first one is actually going to be a Rick Riordan Presents book. It is a middle grade series and it's based off of West African mythology. It is called Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mabalia. So Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky starts off with our main character, Tristan Strong, who feels anything but strong. He feels as if he failed to save his best friend when they were both in a bus accident. So he's holding a lot of guilt over that. And the only thing he has left is a journal from his best friend Eddie that he used to write stories in. So he's been sent to Alabama to stay on his grandparents' farm in order to cope with the tragedy. But on his first night there, this little creature comes in and tries to steal Eddie's journal. So he knows that this is the last thing that he has of his best friend. He has to get the journal back. So as he's chasing this little creature to get the journal back, they end up under this bottle tree and he accidentally punches it. Oopsie, he accidentally rips open a hole in the sky to a place called Mid-Pass. It's a very volatile world. There's burning oceans and these creatures that are trying to basically hunt down people from across the world. Tristan actually finds himself in a long-going battle that Black American folk legends like John Henry and Brer Rabbit have been fighting for years. In order to save the world, Tristan partners with his new allies and they go to the African god Anansi, who is a weaver, in order to seal the hole in the sky. But Anansi is also a trickster. As with other tricksters in mythology, bartering with them always comes at a price whether you know it or not. So this is another book that has had a lot of hype. It is definitely highly rated and people seem to love it just as much as Percy Jackson and his other series. So definitely give this one a try if you're a fan of Percy Jackson and Trials of Apollo and his other stories. Definitely give this one a try if you want to learn about some new mythology from around the world. This next book is another Rick Riordan Presents book. It is a middle grade series, and this time it follows the Native American mythology, specifically from the Southwest and the Navajo people. So this is called Race to the Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. So our main character, Nizoni, has lately been able to see monsters. So she's been able to see this man who's been hanging around her school in a fancy suit, who also happens to be her dad's new boss. This man, Mr. Charles, seems really interested in Nozoni and her twin brother's Navajo heritage, and he keeps telling them about the story of the hero twins. But when she talks to her dad about it, he doesn't believe her. So when the day their dad disappears with a very cryptic message saying run, the siblings and their best friend go on a rescue mission, and they know the only way that they can do this is with the Navajo's holy people. But in order to get their holy people's help, the twins need to go through a series of trials and reach the House of the Sun, all while the whole time nature is literally trying to kill them. But if they do reach the House of the Sun, then they will be outfitted with everything that they need to take down Mr. Charles and the monsters that he is about to unleash on the world. So some of the best things about both Rick Riordan's own books and his Rick Riordan's Presents books are that they are all fast-paced, a bunch of action, but they are all very funny. So if you like action and adventure and fun, this is definitely the book for you. And as a bonus, you get to learn about some mythology from our own country. So the next book on our list is another middle grade series, but this time we are focusing on Celtic mythology. So Celtic mythology comes from Ireland, Scotland, England, that whole United Kingdom area. This book is the first book in the Tapestry series, and it is called The Hound of Rowan by Henry Neff. In The Hound of Rowan, our main character, Max McDaniels, pretty much lives a very quiet life in the suburbs of Chicago until the day he stumbles upon a mysterious, ancient Celtic tapestry. A tapestry is basically a blanket with a woven picture on it that you hang on the wall. There's a lot of people who are interested in Max and his fancy tapestry now, which is pretty weird. But then it leads him to the discovery of the Rowan Academy. So Max is very excited, and he knows great things are awaiting him at the Rowan Academy. But when he gets there, he realizes that there are also some very dark things awaiting him as well. So Max learns that very gifted children are going missing, along with some very priceless and ancient artifacts. And he finds himself in the crossfire of an ancient battle between good and evil. So in order to survive, Max will have to rely on his new roommates and some new interesting and fun people that he met at the Rowan Academy. And he might have to rely on this new power that is awakening within him. The series is definitely for the people who love magical schools, and also if you like spy schools, give this one a try as well. And definitely try out the Celtic mythology if you're a fan of mythology. Like I said, The Hound of Rowan is the first book in the Tapestry series. All books are out and published, so you can read them straight through. So the last book I have for you today is a YA series. It is on the younger side, so it's good for both YA and middle grade. It's not necessarily about one mythology, but it's about a bunch of mystical and mythological creatures that we've come to know and love. It is called Fablehaven by Brandon Mull. For centuries, mystical creatures have been gathered from all over around the world and hidden in this magical refuge called Fablehaven in order to prevent their extinction. And this sanctuary is the last remaining place of true magic. So it seems very exciting and enchanting, right? You would think it would be safe. Wrong. It's actually quite the opposite. Inside the woods of Fablehaven, there's these ancient laws that kind of keep order to everything. So all of the jealous fairies and the spiteful imps and the greedy trolls can kind of keep order and not just go willy-nilly. So our main characters, which are siblings, Kendra and Seth, have no idea that their grandfather is actually the current caretaker of Fablehaven. When Seth is just a little too curious and a little too reckless for his own good, those laws get broken. And now, powerful forces of evil are unleashed onto the world. And of course, all kinds of chaos and shenanigans ensue, and Kendra and Seth will have to muster up the courage to not only save their family and Fablehaven, but quite possibly the world. Brandon Mull is a huge name in the middle grade and YA fantasy genre. He has some series that we talked about earlier, like Dragon Watch. He's definitely just a big name in fantasy. So if you like fantasy, if you like mythology, definitely give this one a try and try out some of Brandon Mull's other series. And that is it today for our mythology-inspired YA and middle grade fantasy series. If you want more mythology books, we will be posting a book list with more titles that you can look at. If you are using this video for a badge for our 2020 summer reading program, the code word for this week is Mason Cooley. I cannot believe that our summer reading program for 2020, Imagine Your Story, is coming to an end. Thank you so much for following along with all of these book talks throughout the summer and letting me do my favorite thing ever, talking about books. And until next time, happy reading.